You do not want to be around toxic, negative people. They're going to bring you down. Once I stopped hanging out with them, my life became so much better. It became way more stress-free. Hey guys, it's Andy Coleman, and I'm going to tell you 13 things that made me way more successful. Number 1, I developed systems and I became more organized. To elaborate on that, for me, scaling up, there is no way you can scale up unless you develop systems. You can't go from doing 1 deal a month to doing 30 deals a month within a week. If you don't have your systems in place, it'll never work. It'll be in chaos, you won't know what the heck you're doing, and everything will crumble before you even get going. You need to slowly build up so you can develop systems so you actually know what you're doing and you know where everything is. Having folders and files and scripts and Word documents and Excel spreadsheets, notepads on your phone, calendars, all of that is crucial to actually succeeding and scaling up. The way I developed my systems was I was mainly using my Google Notes to actually keep everything in order. I have multiple note sections for every kind of topic that you can possibly imagine. For real estate, I have my schedule, I have all of my offers that I have to put in, I have everything in there real estate related. And on my laptop, I have Excel spreadsheets for my database, for my CRM, for my income sheet, for all the deals that I'm doing, and to keep track of absolutely everything with my stocks, my investment portfolios, everything like that. And then I have Word documents which have all of my scripts. If you don't have scripts, you definitely need them. And I'm not talking about the ones where you read them out loud, because eventually you're going to become so good you don't need to read from anything. I'm talking about things you can copy and paste into your emails and to your text messages. Me personally, I have my text messages linked to my phone from my laptop. So this way, if I'm on my computer, I can actually text people from my laptop, which would come from my phone. Number 2, working smarter and more efficient. So yes, you do have to work harder, but you need to work smarter and more efficient. If you're doing things extremely slow and it's taking you forever to do a simple task, you're never going to get anywhere. I went from taking about 3 to 4 minutes to write up a contract to lease to perfecting it to taking about 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'm putting in about 20 to 30 offers per day, so that 2.5 minute difference helps tremendously. If I couldn't do a contract to lease that fast, it would take me an extra 30-45 minutes per day. And each little task that I'm doing, that adds up, and it adds up really quickly. Also, another big thing is clipboards. When I'm texting people, I have something called clipboards in my Google phone. You can get this on Google's Gboard. I don't know if you have an iPhone. I don't know if this has this kind of capability, but I have a clipboard and I can actually copy and paste messages and I can pin them to the clipboard. I have 10 messages right now, which I basically copy and paste for every single text that I do. If I have an incoming lead, I'm going to use a certain text. If I have a lead that I have to set up on a search, I'm going to use a different kind of text. If I just put in offers, I have a certain kind of text. Everybody try to use clipboards so you can copy and paste your text way quicker. You don't have to switch over to your note section, copy the text, and then put it on your text message. No, you don't have to do that at all. You could pop up your clipboard as you're in your text message and you can send it immediately. Number 3, I learned how to control my emotions and communicate better. So this helped a lot. I was losing deals left and right, and I still lose deals left and right, but I don't get mad anymore. Yes, I might get slightly upset for like 5 seconds, and then I'm over it. In the beginning, when I started losing deals, I would be moping around, I would be angry for hours at a time, and it would destroy my productivity. It was not good for me, it was not good for the clients, wasn't good for the listing agent, wasn't good for the seller or the buyer. Terrible idea to get mad if something happens. Keep your emotions in check, and I promise you, you're gonna have more success. Also with my relationship as well, I learned to communicate better with my partner. And there's a saying, happy wife, happy life. And that is so true. If you have a happy relationship, you're gonna perform better in work. It's not gonna be on your mind anymore. You're gonna be thinking more clear, you're gonna be happier, she's gonna be happier, or he's gonna be happier, and you're gonna have a much better time. A few ways to easily communicate better: put yourself in the other person's shoes. A lot of people are trapped in their own head. They don't think about other people. If you start thinking about other people, you're gonna start realizing what you're doing to them might not make them feel good. If you start thinking like that person, you could better understand them and better help them. And this could be for a client, for a relationship, for a friendship, for your parents, your family, anything. Number 4, follow-ups. This was so crucial to me succeeding in my third year of real estate. Before I was doing this, I was doing about $250,000 in commission. Once I started doing this and a few other items that I'm talking about today, I doubled my business. The follow-ups that I was doing was so easy as well. All I would do is go back 1 day's prior text messages. So basically all I'm doing is going back, let's say it's Tuesday. I go back to Monday's text messages and I start scrolling down. I usually get about 100 to 200 individual text messages per day. So all I have to do is take about 30 minutes. I scroll through them all and I respond to the ones that did not get back to me. Now, if you do this every single day and you keep up with it all the time, it only takes about 30 minutes a day. I probably started making about 20 to 30% more profits after doing this. Number 5. I started working about 16 hours per day. Now, I know that might sound crazy to you guys. That's a lot of work, and I thought so too, but not really, because I'm gonna go into it a little bit on number 6, but for my number 5, working more. That's it. All I did was I stopped taking these kind of breaks where I would turn my phone off or not work on the weekends. I would just continuously work. That's it. That's all I had to do. And my business doubled. You always want to be accessible and you always want to be available, especially if you're in real estate. If you have a client that needs something done and you're nowhere to be found, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to move on to another realtor. There's millions of realtors out there. If you're not there for them at any time, they're going to find somebody who is. Now that leads me into number 6, preventing burnouts. Now, what I just said before, yes, I do work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That does not mean I do not go on vacations. That does not mean I go and do fun things for myself. I'm gonna go and play tennis or play golf or go on a date with my girlfriend. I'm gonna do things that are enjoyable to me. Doing little activities a couple times per week, it could only be about a half an hour, maybe an hour every couple days. And it was enough to prevent burnout for me. There was a time where I was just working straight, nonstop. I would not take breaks. I would not go do fun activities. It was work, 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 work. It did not work. I would burn out after a few months of doing this, and then I would have to take weeks off at a time. I highly encourage and recommend that you definitely take breaks every once in a while. Number 7, I outsourced some of my busy work. So some of my easier tasks, I outsourced it. I got a VA. I got other agents to help me out. I realized that I could not do everything alone. In my first 3 years, yes, I basically did everything by myself and it worked really well. I thought to myself, I'm the only one that can do this. And if I outsource it to somebody else, it's not going to get done correctly. But to scale up, you have to give control up. You have to trust other people to do certain tasks and train them to do them just as well as you. Number 8 was a fun one. So I actually started doing vision boards. Vision boards are amazing. You can probably see them behind me over here. I started doing vision boards 3 years ago and it completely changed everything. So let's say in 2022, I mapped out all of my goals for 2023. Now what this does is it kind of gives you a benchmark on things that you want to achieve. If there's things I know that are on my vision board and I'm not completing them, I'm gonna feel guilty. I'm gonna feel bad about myself and I'm gonna wanna do those things. As an example, in 2021, I had a goal to hit $300,000 in income. And guess what? I crushed it. I actually did $500,000 of income that next year. Along with vision boards, I also started manifesting. Now, I know this might sound a little bit silly to people, but what you put out into the universe is what you get back. I learned that over the past few years. If you have a positive attitude, you're gonna put out positive energy and you're gonna get it back. What you put out is gonna come back. Number 9. So this is an interesting one and a little bit controversial. I stopped eating breakfast and lunch. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would that have anything to do with your success? Well, I'll tell you. When I stopped eating breakfast and lunch, I started getting way more energy. When you eat breakfast and lunch, your body has to sit there for the next few hours and digest your food. That takes up precious energy that you could be using working. So once I stopped eating after I woke up and during the daytime, I became much more productive. My energy levels did not crash throughout the day. I was super productive from morning up until I ate. For me personally, I did intermittent fasting. I eat about 6 hours per day and the other 16 hours, I'm not eating at all. So for me, I eat anywhere from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night. I'll eat for about 4 hours and then I'll stop. And that's one big meal and then a few snacks. Doing this, I have way more energy during the day and eating dinner is like a reward for me. So I'm looking forward to dinner the entire day. And once it comes, it's like 10 times better, as if I had eaten breakfast and lunch. Which leads me into number 10. I started exercising more and eating healthier. As I was working harder, I actually stopped going to the gym. So I wouldn't work out anymore, I wouldn't go running, I wouldn't play as many sports, and I started eating a little bit worse. But then I realized my body is my temple. I don't want to put toxic foods into my body. I don't want to stop exercising. I don't want to do any of that. The more you exercise and the healthier you eat, the more energy you're going to have and the better you're going to feel about yourself. And the better you feel about yourself, the better you're going to perform. And you're going to look better too. People are going to see you and they're going to have more respect for you because you're in shape. If you look like you're a mess and you're in chaos, do you think people are going to trust you as much to work with you? I don't think so. They're going to want somebody that's disciplined, well put together, looks healthy, sharp, and articulate. And exercising and eating healthy, that all helps to maintain that image. Number 11, I started sleeping better. So for me, this means sleeping 7 hours a night. For some people, it might be 8 hours. Some people might be 6 hours. It really depends on you, and I definitely suggest trying it out, seeing what works for you best. I figured out 7 hours was my sweet spot. If I sleep 7 hours, I feel amazing the next day. A big part of that though is actually stopping eating about 3 to 4 hours before I go to bed. If I stop eating 3 to 4 hours before I go to bed, I feel incredible the next day, especially if I get my 7 hours of sleep. After you eat food, your body has to take time to digest that. When you're sleeping, your body's using energy to repair your body and get that rest that you need to perform at your best the next day. You're not gonna be at your best if you eat before bed. You're gonna feel sluggish the next day, you're gonna wake up tired and exhausted and cranky, and it's not gonna be good. Don't eat anything about 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. Start doing this for about a week or so, and I promise you, you're gonna notice a difference almost immediately. If you do this every day, you're gonna wake up energized and refreshed and feeling amazing. And number 12, I stopped hanging around with toxic, negative people. This was a big one for me. I had friends that were always arguing and getting into fights and causing drama and nonstop bullshit. Once I stopped hanging out with them, my life became so much better. It became way more stress-free. When you're working and you're successful and you're doing tons of deals, you do not want to be around toxic, negative people. They're going to bring you down. They say you're as good as the 5 people that you hang around the most. So do you really want to be spending your time with people that are dragging you down and bringing drama into your life? You're going to have enough problems in your business as it is. In your personal life, you really want to get all of that out of there. And finally, number 13. This one's going to be a little bit surprising. I bought a nice watch and a nice car. That's gonna sound a little bit strange to you, and I promise you it's not vanity. I did it because I wanted to have a positive image. I wanted people to look at me and say, oh, he's successful. He knows what he's doing. He can help me. He's the expert. So I went out and bought a BMW M3 2022 Competition X-Drive, and I get compliments all over the place. Everywhere I go, at least one person comes up to me and says, oh my God, your car's amazing. And we strike up a conversation. So if it's not a client that I have now, maybe it's a new potential client that I get. And the reason why I got that client is because they came and approached me. They saw my cool, exotic, rare car and said, wow, that's really awesome. And then I struck up a conversation with them. I said, hey, look, I'm a realtor. Do you need help? Do you need to buy a house? Do you need to sell a house? Do you need to rent a house? Is there anything I can do for you? I give them my business card. I exchange phone numbers. And then boom, I just got a client. And then buying a watch really helped too. So me personally, I love Rolex and I love Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe. I waited about a year and a half and I got the call from my Rolex authorized dealer and they sold me this Datejust with the blue stick dials. I absolutely love this watch and I get compliments all the time. Watch enthusiasts will come up to me and say, hey, where'd you get the watch? You know, I love your watch. And again, I'll strike up a conversation with them and I'll make a friend and make a client. Now, this doesn't mean to go and waste all your money on silly nonsense luxury items. I don't think that's necessary at all. I think a few good luxury items are all you need and only the necessary ones. I know there are guys out there that are filthy rich and they drive around these old beat up cars and they're absolutely fine with it. But if you're just starting out, I don't recommend that because people are going to see that and they're not going to think you're doing well. And typically they're not going to want to work with you as much as somebody that is doing well because it gives them the image that they know what they're doing, that they're the expert, that they're successful. And people want to be around that. So those were my 13 tips for becoming more successful. And once I started doing these, I went from doing $80,000 a year in commission to $500,000 within 2 years. I hope everybody liked this video. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm gonna be dropping a video every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon for the notifications, and I'll see everybody in the next one. All right, that was pretty good.